arrived yet, but I think we have to start now because some people have to go off later. Welcome to another Penang Story talk, Penang Story lecture. And Dr. Raja Mohamad actually presented this lecture in Tamil last night at the town hall. And we had a very good audience from the Tamil Muslim community, including some of the heads of the different organizations in Penang and Malaysia. So Dr. Raja Mohamad is from Chennai, and he is you would say, the foremost authority on the Muslim trade, the trillion trade from Coromandel Coast to Straits of Malacca. He's written a book on it, which I think some of you have, and yes, and he's also written on the Tamil Muslim role in the freedom struggle, and also a book on Tamil Muslim architecture, which he has a copy in the back, so if you want to see, I can show you later. And he has expertise both in history, archaeology, and anthropology. So he's very multidisciplinary, and his research is continuing. He gave a talk about 2 years ago, 2011, at a Tamil Muslim Literary Festival in Kuala Lumpur. And so he's making a lot of connections with Malaysia, and we hope to be able to bridge that gap in our knowledge, when we have more exchanges. So in fact, next year there will be some plan to have a kind of Tamil Muslim conference, and with people looking both at Indian sources and also European sources. This is Hamdan's plan. But later this year we have actually two related topics. In August, we have a talk on Penang and the Hajj, which is looking at how the Penang was used as an embarkation point for the Hajj by people from South Thailand, from Aceh and northern part of Sumatra, and also the Malay states, including the East Coast states. So many people participated. I mean, Muslims, they could be Sumatrans or Thai, or from Thailand, or from, or including, the Indonesians and the Tamil Muslims as well. And then, this is 1 week after Hari Raya. So the following week, we will have another talk on also Penang and the Indian Ocean. This talk will be on the Tamil Muslim, actually the Tamil press, which is both Muslim and Hindu, both Tamil Muslims and Hindus were involved in the Tamil press, and Penang used to be a center for Tamil press, especially in the early 20th century. So if you're interested in this Penang and the Indian Ocean series, so remember there's 2 more talks in August, and we have 1 more talk in July, which is by Lalia Wright on the Armenians in Penang. So all this is now on our website. We have all the preliminary announcements on the website. We have a revamped website, so please visit it because you will find all the upcoming Penang Story events on the website. So Dr. Raja Mohamad, he will be here for another 10 days or so, and he's also planning to go to Alosta to visit the library there. If anyone wants to take a trip up to Alosta and take him along and visit the Bujang Valley, he can tell you a lot about what's inside the museum. So we do need somebody to accompany him, either on the way there or on the way back. Then, you can come forward as a volunteer. Or if you think that you want to talk to him, over the next 10 days, he's still around. Shafong and Yvonne will have his itinerary, where he's going, and he can meet with various people as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Raja Mohamad to present his lecture today. Thank you.
Madam President of the Penang Heritage Trust, distinguished scholars who are gathered here, good morning to you all. My research on the Muslim trade from Coromandel Coast to various Indian Ocean coast are undertaken for the past 20 years, and I was able to gather some first-hand information from the European writings. The European writings, European company records are the original sources where we can get more material. Not only more, almost all the materials are from the European sources. The indigenous sources, that is Indian sources, the local sources are very, very limited. In the earlier time, earlier literary sources shed some light on the trade of the Tamil people in general. We also find some inscriptions, some copper plates, something like that. But for the modern period, all the European company records, right from Portuguese, Dutch, English, French, Danish, all these company records shed more light on the Coromandel trade, particularly on the Muslims trade. So, to get an idea about the Coromandel trade and Muslims in particular, we have to go through the European company records only. So fairly, they give correct and judicious information. So, from those sources, now almost all the maritime scholars are doing such work throughout the world. So, with regard to the Muslim trade on Coromandel Coast, they start that the east coast of the peninsular India, the east coast of the South India is called Coromandel Coast. The etymology of the term is from Cholamandalam, the country of the Cholas. The Cholas were the prime rulers for about some 3 or 4 centuries in Tamil Nadu, and in their name this name Cholamandalam is named. Their country extends from Cape Comorin to up to the coast of Orissa also, but it is limited. That for our study we have limited up to the Pulicat and to the border of the present Andhra Pradesh in South India. So to the Indo-European companies, followed this term for east coast as Coromandel. To the Arabs, this place was known as Mabar. Mabar means a place to cross. So during the olden times, the Arabs were crossing the other seas, particularly to the Ceylon, Sri Lanka, which they called Sarandip, and to the Southeast Asian countries and China. They were crossing only through this east coast of Tamil Nadu, so east coast of South India. So they called this place as Mabar. The commercial contact of the Arabs with South India goes to 2000 years in the tradition, Tamil tradition. The Sangam Tamil Classics, which is considered to be dated to 2000 years old, In that we find references about the trade and the Arab people who were trading in the west coast and as well as the east coast of South India. After the birth of Islam in the 7th century, the Arab traders redoubled their oceanic commerce and they came as Muslims to the South Indian coast. Previously they were only Arabs and they came as Muslims to the South Indian coast. So slowly some people settled there, married the local women. In the long run, such Arab-Muslim settlements sprang up through the coast of both West India and in the east coast both, and as well as in the west coast of South India. So with that stronghold, they utilized this opportunity in the resources of the east coast to develop their trade in the Indian Ocean area. The early Arab traders utilized the opportunity of preaching Islam to the local people. Because of their effort, a large number of people embraced Islam. Some of the companions of the Prophet Mohamad and a few missionaries from Arab countries and voluntary preachers from various countries came to the South India, and in the course of long years, the Muslim population increased throughout the coastal towns in the Coromandel Coast. With this, they were keen on developing their trade. So it is very liberally said, mosques and markets have been natural pair over the Islamic world, paving one another's way in the spread of civilization. This is the statement of Clifford Geertz, an eminent anthropologist who went into all these things. There was a chain of ports in the east coast of India, and almost during the 20th century there were about 40 ports in the present Tamil region. Almost all these ports were stronghold of Muslim traders. So from these ports, the descendants of the Arabs and the new Muslims who embraced Islam from the Hindu caste and tribes, together they all were they are very keen to develop their trade, and in the long run they became ship owners, pearl divers, pearl merchants and the like, and they were doing all type of maritime activities. So they also traded with Ceylon, Burma, Aden, Maldives, Southeast Asia and all those things in their own vessels. That is the important. They built their own vessels, and in their own vessels they were trading with all these countries. For this, they had the impact from the Arabs. They learned things from Arab and they followed it in their trade practices. The Coromandel Muslims were pioneering in the South Indian commerce. By the end of 15th century, the Arabs, up to 15th century, the Arabs were also trading in the Indian Ocean area. But after the 15th century, the Arabs lost their prime position as traders in the Indian Ocean area, and the Gujarati Muslims and the Tamil Muslims picked up the thread and they followed the Arabs, they followed the trade of Arab to the Southeast Asia in particular. In that, the Tamil Muslims strengthened their trade contact with the Southeast Asian countries and continued their trade. The Tamil Muslims who embraced Islam were called as Sonagar in the early years. Their name was called as Sonagar in the early years. Later, they were called as Rautar, Lebbai and Marakayas. These Rautar, Lebbai, Marakayas are all not caste distinguished words. They are all profession oriented, occupation oriented titles actually. The sociological division. In West Asian countries, they were better known as Chulias. So these Chulias, we find a reference only in the European records, but for other names, we find a reference in the Tamil literature, Tamil inscriptions, copper plates and the like. So with these names, we find their trading activities in the Indian Ocean region. The Tamil Muslim traders have done much for the spread of Islam in the Southeast Asian countries. There was also the work of Gujarati Muslims, some Arabs also, but the work of the Tamil Muslims had the impact of long-standing, and they were primarily responsible for the spread of Islam in many places in the peninsula. Coromandel Muslims continued their trade in the 16th century in almost in all the Malaccan ports. During that time, Malacca emerged as an international port and a very important port, and the Tamil Muslims utilized the opportunity and they came there and they traded in Malacca, and their prime position was at Malacca. So in that, trade with Malacca means it is not to trade with Malacca alone. Their ships touched Kedah, Penang, Johor and other places, and they came to Malacca, and the trade trip was designed in such a way that they should get more profit on both ways. A large number of traders will get into the ship with their commodities, and they will get down on the ports wherever it is favorable to their commodities, and they will sell the commodities and purchase the commodities available there and return to Coromandel Coast. And as you know very well, textiles was the prime commodity, important commodity in export from Coromandel Coast to the Southeast Asian, not only Southeast Asian countries, almost to all the countries of the globe. So the textiles which were brought by the Tamil Muslims, Coromandel traders, were sold here, and the balance which were unsold were kept here in the warehouses, expecting good market, and such textiles were sold to the rulers on credit, particularly in Kedah. So the ruler in turn will assure them to give them tin during the return voyage. So this is the benefit is multifold. They are selling their commodity, and at the same time they are getting the influence. They are getting influence in the royal court. So by this way, the Tamil Muslims developed their contact with ruling elites of the Southeast Asian countries, particularly in places like Kedah, Perak and other things. The Sultan of Kedah was a trader. He was a maritime trader. He used to send his ships to Coromandel Coast, where the Tamil Muslims were the agents. They were the people who got good for him and sent it in their ships. The Portuguese who intruded in the Malaccan waters by about 1510, and they found that the Tamil Muslims were strongly rooted in the Malaccan ports as traders. In 1511, Portuguese took over Malacca, and somehow or other they wanted to eliminate the Muslim traders, and they blocked the trade. They imposed many restrictions, and many atrocities were committed on them, on their ships, and the custom, the commodities, and the Muslim traders, without opposing it, simply they left the place in search of favorable places. In that they got the good place, good support in Kedah, where the Sultan of Kedah gave them a good support, and their trade luckily continued to a certain extent. Further, the relationship of Kedah with Tamilagam, the ancient Tamil Nadu, goes to the Sangam period, that is beyond 2000 years. The Sangam Tamil literatures shed light on such matters. The Kedah, the present Kedah in old records, Kedah for the present, at the present, was known as Kadaram, Kidaram, Kazhagam in Tamil and Tamil tradition. There was a cordial relationship between the rulers of Tamil Nadu and the rulers of Srivijaya, which came under Kedah, came under that control. And for a short time, during the time of Rajendra Chola, who was the son of the great Rajaraja who built the Tanjavur temple, and he invaded the kingdom, and there was sometimes there was a pause in the relationship. But however, in the succeeding years, in the rule of Kulothunga Chola first, the relationship was again re-established, the relationship continued, and that relationship, in the later period, the relationship of the Tamil Muslims continued up to 19th century. Another important point about the Kedah port is it was the first landfall from any place from the